My name is Arne and I record at Styrofoam. From Antwerp in Belgium. When producing, one downside might be that the amount of stuff you can do and the limits of it are so wide that it might get very confusing. Like if you're like sitting on a couch with an acoustic guitar and singing, it's a very well defined thing what you can do, but might be different like that. But one thing I totally hate is like this sort of thing of people who are saying like, yeah, nowadays anybody can buy a computer and anybody can make electronic music, and there's so much shitty records coming out. Like I saw this electronic music panel with the Touch label guys, and they were sort of saying stuff like that, and I think it's just totally elitist crap to say. I mean,
you think that's a very jaded old guy thing to say?
Yeah, but it's like, because of course the people that are saying it are producing electronic music themselves.
Yeah.
And then the only logical conclusion you can draw from what they're saying is that it's everybody can make it, blah blah blah, while we are the ones who make it decent and we are the good ones, and we can decide which is good, what is good and what is bad, and it's like this cultural fascism which I totally hate. Like we are the elite and we will decide what's good for you, or Of course, on the other hand, there are loads of people out there who buy a laptop or a computer and start producing electronic music, and like with every other genre, like there's loads of it that I don't like, but why should I? I mean, who am I to tell people what they could or what they couldn't do?
Yeah.
I was right, always encourage things you don't like, always encourage, never tie a step.
Throughout everything I've done so far, there's somehow there's common thing is to have like maybe pop songs, but sort of sabotage them. You know, like sort of fight against them within the song. And I think with the thing that first made me think about it like that was the Husker Du Zen Arcade album, which has like totally great pop songs, but they're being totally beaten up and smashed around.
With my great guitar and my Westbrook shirt, I watch the sunrise.
I think what I'm trying to do live is again the same, like messing around with this. I like take the basic parts of the songs I have at home and I try to mess around with them and try to find new angles and sort of turn them inside out. Sometimes it can stay sometimes it can stay quite close to the recorded song, but sometimes it can also totally totally deconstruct what I've done at home.
walked away. I asked you to tell me something nice once. You turned to me with all your hot lights on display. I know you're changing. Damn you. I know you're changing. God damn you for that.
I do realize that like laptop shows have a certain weakness because it's a very static thing, but I like last November during the More Music US tour I started singing live again, which for me was, after a while I found it very exciting again to be doing, and I think that's I realized that it's a good way to get some, I don't know, some more communication with your audience. And I also try to, I just try to do the best I can to make it interesting for myself to play live. And I think if you do that, somehow it also reflects on your audience. The audience can see that you're like being intense and that you're totally into it yourself, if it works. And then I hope this sort of, makes it interesting for the audience also.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like this criticism of laptop shows. It's on the one hand it's sort of a weak criticism because it's the starting point is that it's more interesting to see a guy jumping around with a guitar on stage than it is to see somebody with a laptop. And if like a band would be playing like exact note per note versions of their songs like on the record, and they'd be jumping around a lot, it would be still a more interesting show than a laptop artist who would like present a new and interesting view on his recorded songs. So. But then again, I've seen plenty of laptop performances myself which I thought were totally boring and uninspired.
I will cry through lost land. I will fly, but I can't land. Share the strength of your skin and wonder why. Can't you see? It's just nowhere. She's right here. Get out.
pretty hard for me because I sort of, also with my music, I sort of fall between two chairs, or how do they say it? It's it usually works for me. Maybe works a bit better in the rock clubs lately, because it's sort of, a lot of people aren't really used to this form of performance, and they're sort of, it makes it interesting maybe in a way. They're like, hey, also with the singing, because this is some sort of thing they recognize, and some people have said it's almost like a folk singer being on stage who traded his acoustic guitar for a laptop, and it's like, instead of strumming his guitar, like strumming his laptop in a way. That's sort of a cool image, I think, of this futuristic folk singer. It might sound silly, but the ideal life situation is just if people are being very, are really paying attention, or are trying to listen to what I'm doing. It's always very hard for me to play in front of a noisy talking audience, even if they might like it. I don't know, but it's very distracting for me. And yesterday in New York, what was very distracting was this guy who was like sort of beatboxing beats whenever I wasn't playing any. Totally distracted me from playing myself. It was going like, and I was like, oh my god.
It's not right the way you come here and pretend you own this place. Slam the door and close your eyes. There's no shame, there's no remorse.
I'm being sort of a replacement for Martin Gretschmann. He's back in Europe. I think he was busy doing console stuff, so that's why I've been doing it in Europe also for a few tours and festival shows and so on. So.
Do you like it? Are you going to stay with this for a while, or do you think he's coming back?
Oh no, it's really.
Think he wants his chair back?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's for me, it's totally clear. I'm like a totally hired hands whenever it's needed, and it's fun. I mean, they're one of my favorite bands, so it's always fun to be able to play with one of your favorite bands. So.